Hello, this is David Gamet from Dakota Angler and Outfitter, and today we're going to tie a Tied Dyed Baetis, basically on the lines of kind of like a lightning bug or a rainbow nymph. Real iridescent, flash through there. Real fun pattern to tie. It's tied with the rainbow hue plummet beads from Hareline, and they come in a multitude of rainbow hues on the bead itself. Really a cool looking bead, and with this you can tie them from 5/32 down to a 16th bead, so you can go some pretty small flies up to a pretty good size fly. And we'll get started here. Pull this guy out of the vise, and we're going to start out with an Umpqua U101 hook. This is kind of a new series hooks for Umpqua, real reasonably priced. And today we're using a size 14. Get that in there. And on that 14 we have a 7/64 bead on that. And we'll also start out with some thread here, the ultra thread. This is red, and basically kind of a multitude of colors of thread. You could probably also use cream or blue. We'll start out with the thread right behind the eye, or behind the bead. Stop it about halfway there. And then for the tailing material, we're using a barred, this new product also, barred Mayfly tails from Hareline. Really cool and pretty indestructible. So I've got 4 micro fibbits. We're going to tie that in kind of at mid-shank and then take the thread towards the back. And basically you're trying to judge the size of the tails here from the shank. So we're going to kind of measure that and go back to about 1 shank back. So after about 3 wraps, just pull the thread down until you got your tail length. Now for this part, you just kind of take your finger and split the tails until you got equal proportion on each side. Just kind of tease them back. We'll kind of take the thread up through here. And we're going to come back. Go underneath. Until you got them nice and split. Then take your thread forward. So we got a nice split tail there. Go ahead and cut the excess off. Now we're going to do the ribbing is going to be small wine colored thread there. Drop that on the floor here, show you. There we go. And tie that in. Basically just kind of set the wire parallel to the hook. I can usually just plop it right behind the bead and then get the entire length of that wire so that it stays put. Nice taper. And then for the mylar, we're using a pearl tinsel flat medium. And tie that in. Leave the thread at the back here. We're just going to work our thread forward now. Put the thread right behind the bead. And then just wind this forward. Mylar. Gives that kind of that real iridescent of a Mayfly with the gas trying to crawl out of its shell here. Tie that off. Cut off the excess. And then we'll take our thread, or wire, excuse me, and wind that forward. Give our segmentation here. Right behind the bead, tie that off. About 3 turns. Cut the excess off. And sometimes you can mess with these microfibers, kind of tease them into place after you bumped them a couple of times. Okay, wind the thread back to just about mid-shank there. And we'll take our mylar for the wing case on the back and tie that in. So we're going to tie this in right on top of the hook shank. This will be our wing case that you're going to pull over. Get that back. And we're going to use the sow scud. This is rainbow. You're going to dub up a thorax there. And remember when you're dubbing to use little amounts, very wispy amounts of dubbing. Don't have to get a whole lot of dubbing, just small amounts, add it as you go, and you'll have a lot easier dubbing when you put it onto the thread noodle. We're going to kind of dub up a ball here, and we're going to be picking out some of this fur after we pull it forward here to kind of give some legs. Some nice thorax there. And again, just a little bit at a time. Don't have to wad a whole bunch on there at one whack. Just take a little amount. That's the whole trick to dubbing, is a small amount. Okay. Wind the thread right behind the bead. We'll pull that mylar flash right over the back. Gives a little flash right on the back there. Pull it forward. Off the excess. Do a little whip finish here. Cut off the excess. And you'll notice that this bead has a multitude of colors and it changes depending upon where you look at it. And now for the next step, we're going to use some quick cure glue. That's going to be done with a UV light. You could use liquid fusion on the back, just similar to like a copper john. Just going to dab a little bit right on the back. Build that up just a little bit. Hit it with the UV light, and that'll harden within about 5 seconds. Really nice, and if you want to build it up a little bit more, you can always add another layer. Hit it again. There we got that. And now we have our multitude color Tied Dyed Baetis. Thanks again. This is David Gamet from Dakota Angler and Outfitter.